It's meant to be a big day in Walford, but instead, everything starts to fall apart in the worst way. Next week, EastEnders takes a dramatic turn as the night that changes everything finally arrives and no one is prepared for what's coming. Max Branning crashes Vicky Fowler's wedding completely uninvited, and what he does next shocks everyone in the room. Instead of just causing chaos, he drops a surprise proposal that leaves the entire wedding speechless. Meanwhile, Ian Beale ends up in a dangerous situation that pushes him into real trouble, while Denise Fox is forced to share some emotional and difficult news with her family. Chelsea Fox also faces something truly disturbing as a horrifying incident turns her world upside down. On top of that, George Knight makes a major decision that could change everything for his future. From 1st to 4th of June, Walford is hit with chaos, secrets and life-changing twists.
Denise Fox discloses her blood cancer diagnosis. After a dramatic wedding ceremony, the Walford residents gather for the reception. Yolandi Truman, Angela Winter, soon notices that one important person is missing: Denise. In reality, Denise is at the hospital, receiving further details about her acute myeloid leukaemia diagnosis. Overwhelmed, she later returns home and takes a quiet moment at Fox and Hare to process everything. Yolandi eventually finds her, and the pair head back to number 27 for an emotional conversation where Denise breaks down in tears. Things then take a worrying turn when her consultant calls and tells her to come back to Walford General immediately for urgent treatment. But before she can go, another crisis involving Chelsea pulls her away, leaving Yolandi to step in and cover when questions are asked about Denise's earlier disappearance. The next day, Denise comes to a difficult decision. It's time to finally tell Jack about her illness.
Ian Beale faces losing everything. With a drunken Cathy Beale close to Avance, after Gillian Tailforth's character fires a stream of insults at her former daughter-in-law Cindy Beale, Michelle Collins, Ian decides to step in and drive her home. But what starts as a simple journey soon takes a terrifying turn. They return to the square in relatively good spirits, even taking a moment to celebrate Ian's recent council victory, completely unaware that everything's about to change. When there's a knock at the door, new information suddenly comes to light, and Ian quickly realises his life may be on the verge of a major, life-altering shock. Chelsea Fox's world is turned upside down. Chelsea enjoys a brief flirtation with Mark Fowler, Stephen Aaron Sipple, but things soon take a tense turn when he ends up in a heated argument with Zach Hudson, James Farrar, over Vicky. Lauren steps in to calm the situation, and later, when Chelsea finds herself alone with Zach, the two come very close to sharing a kiss. However, their moment is abruptly interrupted, and Chelsea returns to the marquee unaware that something serious is unfolding nearby. She calls out for her mum Denise, who is already struggling with her own difficult situation. In an attempt to protect Chelsea from further distress, Denise makes the painful decision to keep her cancer diagnosis a secret.
Max Branning pops the question to Cindy Beale. One of the biggest lingering mysteries following the New Year's Day Flash Forward episode has been the identity of Max Branning's mysterious bride-to-be, a question fans have been speculating about ever since. Next week's episode may finally bring that answer closer to the surface, as Max makes a bold and very public move. He openly declares his feelings for Cindy Beale and, in front of their neighbours, drops to one knee to propose in a dramatic gesture that no one sees coming. The moment leaves Cindy completely stunned and speechless, clearly caught off guard by the unexpected proposal. With emotions running high and the entire square watching, all eyes are now on Cindy. But the big question remains, how will she respond to Max's shocking declaration of love?
Kat and Alfie Moon fear they've poisoned their punters.
One of the biggest mysteries following the New Year's Day Flash Forward episode was the identity of Max Branning's bride-to-be. In next week's episodes, we may finally have an answer to that question. He decides to declare his love for Cindy publicly and gets down on one knee in front of their neighbours. She's stunned by his proposal. How will Cindy respond? Kat and Alfie Moon fear. After providing the food for the wedding reception, Kat, Jessie Wallace and Alfie Moon, Shane Ritchie begin to panic when they start worrying that they may have accidentally poisoned some of the guests. As concern grows, the atmosphere turns tense and uncertain, leaving them desperate to understand what has gone wrong and who might have been affected. The situation quickly casts a shadow over what was meant to be a joyful celebration. As the night draws to a close, Kat and Alfie decide to try and lift spirits by hosting an old... George Knight makes a decision that he may live to regret. Gina Knight is left deeply furious after discovering that her father, George, has been spending time with his racist adoptive grandfather, Eddie. Overwhelmed by her emotions, she ends up taking out her frustration on her boyfriend, Harry Mitchell, leaving tensions between them strained and heartbreaking. Harry later reflects on their earlier confrontation, still hurt by how things unfolded. Unable to ignore the situation, he decides to go directly to George to confront him about Eddie. During their conversation, George is stunned to learn that Eddie has not changed his behaviour while in prison, despite any hopes of reform, and even George's attempt to offer an apology to Gina is firmly rejected and brushed aside. Determined to protect his family, George quickly heads to number 1 with a clear intention to put an end to Eddie's involvement in their lives. He tells Eddie in no uncertain terms that he is sending him back to prison. However, Eddie is unfazed and drops a shocking revelation, claiming that Nicola Mitchell has actually been allowing him to stay in exchange for financial backing for their business ventures. Shocked by this bombshell, George confronts Nicola to get the truth. After a heated exchange, he ultimately disowns Eddie as his father, leading to an explosive argument between them. In the aftermath of the confrontation, George is left shaken and makes a huge, last-minute decision that could change everything for his family.
Priya Nandra Hart is missing Ravi Gulati. Priya Nandra Hart, Sophie Khan-Levy, is left struggling as her relationship with Ravi Gulati, Aaron Thiara, falls apart following his time in a secure mental health unit. Feeling emotionally lost and unsettled, she begins to seek attention as she tries to cope with everything that has happened between them. As tensions and unresolved feelings continue to hang over the situation, Priya finds it increasingly difficult to move forward, with her personal life becoming more complicated by the day. The emotional strain leaves her searching for some form of stability or reassurance in the midst of the chaos. As the sun rises over Walford, it becomes clear that a long and complicated road lies ahead for the residents, with many still dealing with the fallout of recent events. For some, healing may take time, and for others, things may only just be beginning.